Hello everybody and welcome back to Motorsport Manager, the GT series then. Wasn't exactly the ideal start first time out, 10th and 17th for our two drivers. But we're going to hopefully be kicking on from now on. Vosu should be over his fever in time for the next race. And we've got those sponsors coming pretty soon. So I'm going to wait and see how much we get from the sponsors, which should be level 4 sponsors for the first time in this Let's Play. And then we'll see how much we can spend on the car. For the moment, we'll continue to try and improve reliability anyway. And kick on from there. And let's be honest, it really can't get much worse than the first race, can it? But we did build a new engine last time. So at least we can get that on one of the cars. And here are those lovely sponsor offers then. So slot number 5, we're looking here really for upfront payments, especially this category because we're not going to be getting 6th or above. So these 750,000 are going to be the most lucrative. I don't think we're ever going to select 3rd or above. We might select 6th or above if we get there towards the end of the season. So I will accept the 750,000 up front and that will go nicely into the bank. The fixed payment sponsors, these are the most useful because it will increase how much we're getting per race and hopefully put us into profit. So 1.5 million up front, 400,000 for 15 races is going to be a much better deal with 500,000 in the bank. So Cortez Tyre Company, welcome aboard. Much needed money, and that should hopefully put us in the green. And then we got another sort of fixed position here. None of them are upfront payments, unfortunately. I think 10th is going to be something we can achieve, and they've also got a home race bonus for Japan, which hopefully we should be racing at some point. And it's a short deal as well, so we can always go for a better sponsor if we get offered one later on. So we'll accept that one as well. And if we have a look at our finances now, we're still going to be losing money. That's not good, is it? I thought we'd solve all our problems by doing this, but hey, at least we're losing 96,000 per race. If we get a sponsor objective, that should put us into the green. And we've got 4 million for the moment to spend on the car, so it's not all doom and gloom. So I think we will design a second new engine. We'll go for top speed. We're not going to be able to make too many engines this season, I wouldn't have thought. So we'll go for the maximum performance possible, and then obviously we can increase it down the line. We can solve the reliability issues. I really don't want to risk level, and losing top speed is not really what I want. So I think we might go for a second average part, to be honest, just to get that extra top speed and a bit of reliability. Obviously these two would be ideal, but they're going to come with a risk level which we just can't afford. So let's get that engine built, and let's look at improving the parts we have then. So at the moment we are concentrating still on reliability. We know in these early races that could be very important. I think I'm going to switch probably the suspension to the new engine. We'll let the brakes and the suspension run for a few days, and then we'll switch probably back to the gearbox, because that's probably going to be the most important, and this engine here as well. So let's get going. A lot of sort of I told you so's, I'm sure, from the first race of how Tang isn't really up to scratch, unfortunately. But you know, Jacob, we should be able to see the full potential of the car from Jacob. Is it Jacob or Jacob? I prefer Jacob. It goes with his nationality as well. And hopefully he should be able to show the true performance of the car. And even if we're only losing 96,000 per race, that's a huge improvement on when we started this career mode, of when we were losing 1 million per race. So at least it's sort of negligible now, and whatever money we get from the sponsors can pretty much go straight on the car, and that is solely because of Tang. So he's worthwhile having from my point of view, just to improve the car. Right, so let's switch this suspension over to the gearbox. We're going to switch these brakes over, and we're going to switch onto the better of the other two engines, although we've got another one finishing soon. So actually I'll probably concentrate on the suspension and then we'll bring up the other engine up to scratch as soon as we can. Now, it was mentioned to me that even if performance is on 0, they still have some kind of impact, so maybe we should have these activated. Let's go for that gearbox. Our suspension's really, really good, because I think that's all we could spend money on last year. So let's go for those 4 parts. And let's go to 3 on performance, just so we get that little trickle of performance, but reliability is, of course, our sole priority. Right, second new engine is finished. As I said, suspension and brakes are really good, so gearbox is really what we need to improve on. And I'm happy with the amount of money we got in the bank, so I'm going to continue building these parts as quickly as we can get them on the car. So we'll go for +10 to acceleration and reliability, get that built, and then we can build a second gearbox as well pretty soon. And yeah, this is a good pace. This is a good pace with the developments. Hopefully we can start to move our way up the field pretty soon. Emails there, just the normal trying to blag facilities. I'm afraid there's not much we can do. We have got something building, haven't we? Yeah, the telemetry centre, which is going to improve our gearbox. I want to say gearbox. It is gearbox, yes. So getting these gearboxes built is probably a good idea, because it means that we'll be able to go higher with those gearboxes once that's built as well. Right, so we've got another new engine built. I will switch from probably the suspension over to that engine, and I will switch these brakes to that engine there. I don't know that we'll get that ready. It's only 3 days, so we might have to use an old gearbox, an old engine for the next race, but we'll see what wizardry our mechanics can do with the reliability for the next couple of races, for the next couple of days even. To be honest, if it's within a couple of %, I'll probably put it on the car. We'll see. Just leave me alone, Thomas, please. I really do. I've turned this company around from complete debt to almost in the profit. Okay, so just fucking leave me alone, please, mate. Right, 10th quickest car. I thought we had the 9th at one point, but maybe that was our single-seater. I can't quite remember. But we are ready for the race then. We're going to choose Nippon, 10th or above. 400,000. Hopefully we'll be able to get a 10th place finish with one of the cars. And that means now that if we do achieve a sponsor objective, we make profit, which is the first time in this entire career mode. So that's pretty great if we can achieve that. Right, 56 and 68. I'm pretty happy to put those on the car. I'll give Tang the lower reliability. It'll be a slightly quicker engine, but he's not going to be able to push as hard on it. And everything else is going to be the same as last time. So yeah, they're both number 2s. They can't really be too discouraged by which parts we're giving them. They're both very, very unhappy about the cars themselves, but there's not much we can do about that, guys. You know what you signed up for, didn't you? Just be happy you're racing a car for money, okay? That's a very rare thing indeed. So I'm going to get practice underway then, and I shall be back with you for qualifying. Okay, welcome along to qualifying, everybody. Practice went pretty damn well for Tang. 99% on the setup. Still searching for that first ever 100% setup. Apparently it exists, but it is a fabled myth at this point for us. But still as near to perfect as we can get on Tang's car. A bit of a struggling session for Vosu, only 94% on his setup. So it'll be interesting to see here. Vosu is back to full strength. He's obviously recovered from his illness. So hopefully we'll be, even with that deficit to the setup, should beat Tang in qualifying. It's unlikely we're going to get a car through to Q2, but we'll give it a go. And for qualifying, at least, that is going to be our objective for the early part of the season. If we can get the car in dry weather to get through to Q2, then we've done a great job. But of course, setup and preparation is always going to be for the race, because that's where we're going to be able to make progress beyond what our car is capable of, or so we hope. So the two guys going around now for their first lap. Quite a long lap for the GT cars here. 1 minute 30 roughly around, or a little bit less in qualifying. So they should get 2 runs in anyway. But Tang is coming around the final corner now then, onto the pit straight. And he is going to cross the line to do a 1:23.6. And Vosu crosses the line to do a 1:23.9 then. So Tang's slightly quicker. Tang does have the better engine, which is going to have worse reliability, so that's going to take some management in the race. But a bit surprising that Vosu can't beat Tang even with that deficit in setup. So we'll see if he can improve second time round. The other thing we have to note here, I guess, is we are in Dubai, so the tyre wear is going to be very, very high in this race. And the Super Softs, after just one flying lap, pushing as hard as we can, both drivers were down to around about 80%. So it's going to be a struggle to get the Super Softs to go any kind of distance. But we should be starting outside of the top 10. So we'll have free choice of tyres. So I think there's a very strong possibility that we're going to start on either the softs or the mediums. I might split our 2 drivers between the softs and the mediums. But very short lap here, so we won't wait too long to get them back out again, just in case we miss the cut-off. So we're going to send Tang out first, and then Vosu just behind. 18th and 20th at the moment for our guys. Again, Q2 looking like too much of a jump to get through. And if we know anything, you know, we've got 2 new engines from last time, but that's not going to make the biggest difference in the world at the end of the day. So we've got to expect that we'll be at the rear of the field again, probably in this race. And if we can, the more I think about it, the more astounding it was that we got Tang into P10 last time. So if we can get one of our drivers there, I mean, let's just think about it. Points-wise, what we got to do? 8th again, I think it was, is our objective for the team. So we are going to need points at some point. But the main objective is to get money in the bank so that we can improve the car. And we're going to get some money in the bank every time we finish 10th or above. So we're not going to do that in qualifying, so it will only be about 150, 200,000 per race. But as long as it outstrips the deficit, then we can continue spending the money we get from sponsors. So Vosu is going to cross the line then. Tang, sorry, has already crossed the line and did a 23.6 again. Vosu did a 20... They're just starting their lap. I will pay more attention, I promise. So they're just starting their laps now. I haven't actually wound it up to 2 speeds, so that's why it's happening a lot slower than normal. But it means we can have a nice little fireside chat as they do their laps. So Vosu 1.7 seconds down through the second sector. Vosu, we will see what his split is like. Vosu 1.3, so this looks like a much better lap from Vosu. As Tang crosses the line and actually goes 4 tenths slower with a 24.0. So can't find an improvement. Can Vosu? Vosu ups the line now. It's a 23.6. And he goes a few hundredths of a second ahead of his teammate. No, he's behind, sorry. A few hundredths behind. So Vosu did find the speed, but this is interesting. Obviously, there's a better engine on Tang's car, but it's not massively better. But there is a 5% difference in the setups. So it's looking like that's kind of about how Vosu I would expect. We don't know till we have a fair qualifying with roughly the same cars to find out. But we would expect Vosu to be a few tenths at least ahead of Tang. So that 5% in setup is definitely worth a few tenths. Because Tang was equally the match for Vosu today. But 18th and 19th, you know, we're in the ballpark. We're not last. And we're not a massive mile off the back of the midfield. So we can still have a race from here, I'm sure. I would, by the way, like to be able to change our caps. That would be quite cool. Because we're... I swear we chose a logo for our team. Which we did there. Up in the top left. And yet it's put that Motorsport Manager logo on our suits. It's a tiny thing, but I would have... liked them They have got helmets that are the same colour as the car, though, so that's quite cool. Anyway, let's stop dithering, shall we? I shall go through the rest of the next 2 sessions, simulate those, and I will be back with you for the second race of the season. Okay, it is race day, ladies and gentlemen, and it's going to be a tough one again. Let's not forget that, but hopefully we can make some progress. We're going to go for super soft tyres and race trim on Vosu, and the same with Tang. Because of course no refueling, so no real need for those pit stop bonuses that Vosu has. We may want to look into changing his engineer, because the 2 bonuses we get with that engineer are pretty much useless, so there's no real point in having him at all. They're not going to provide bonuses for the driver once they have their relationship increased. So I forgot, obviously GT series we don't get 3 compounds tyres, we only get 2. So I think we're going to start both drivers on the soft tyres, because I would expect these super softs really not to last very well today. So we're going to go on soft tyres and try and go as deep into this race as possible. And if we just stay on softs the whole race, which we can do now, of course, there's no rules about changing between compounds, then hopefully we can make 1 less stop than some of the competition. So we're going to go with push and high for the first lap or 2. And then hopefully we'll back off a little bit. And of course reliability wasn't really a factor in the first race, but hopefully it will be again. Because that was the real big difference with the first race and this one. Is normally we get a lot of points early on just by making sure our cars get to the finish. And that hasn't happened so far this season. So hopefully that's going to happen today. All the work that we've spent on increasing our reliability will pay off. But anyway, it's a great start from Tang then, up to 13th already. Vosu's still down in 19th. This is a little pause button there, cheeky pause button. Let's go up to 2 speed. Let's go back to medium fuel, and we'll stay on push just to get those tyre temperatures up. Because we might struggle with that a little bit initially with the soft tyres. But not for very long here in Dubai. Very high track temperatures. Although a bit cooler than we'd expect actually. 21 degrees. It is a bit of a cloudy Dubai. But it's a real test of Vosu today. You know, he's our main man. He should be the much better driver of the 2. And hopefully he can outrace Tang if nothing happens to the pair of them. But after a great start then, Tang has dropped back through the field. Now down to 18th. And it's become pretty obvious that we're going to need to steal a march on strategy if we're going to make any progress in this race. We are on the soft tyres, don't forget. So we're around those guys that have started on the soft tyres. So as long as we go deeper into this race, then we should be okay. We're going to go back to neutral now, because those tyres are nicely up to temperature. And yes, we're hoping to take these tyres to about lap 13 to 15. If we can make them last that long, then we should only have to do a 1-stop strategy, and that might be where we can save the time today. So both our drivers have now fallen to the back of the field. Vosu trying to take a look at Tang down into turn 1. I might just use his boost at some point. That was probably a stupid place to use it, but hopefully it'll get him close enough. No, it doesn't. There he goes, round the outside. Come on, Vosu, you seem to have more pace. Oh, this is a real ding-dong battle between our 2 drivers here, and it's losing him a bunch of time. They are a long way from the rear of the field already. Vosu finally gets that move done then. Hopefully holds it into turn 1. I'm just going to make sure he uses that boost to make sure he holds that position, and he does do. I wouldn't have thought the boost would have... Tang must have made a mistake there, because there's about 2 seconds between them in one corner. But let's use Tang's boost as well, just to get him to catch back up to Vosu. Let's not use too much, mate. Stay behind, please. Stay behind. Oh, he's gone. Okay. Right, carry on using your boost and don't hold each other up. This could be a ding-dong battle. Let's just let them race. Let's not try and orchestrate this. They both seem pretty similarly matched in this race. Especially from qualifying pace. So, just got to take these as long as they will go. Super soft tyre runners, already, a lot of them already down to about 25%. They are mostly the top 10 though. Those guys that started outside the top 10 are just coming down to 50% now. So it's those guys that are going to be racing. A lot of the top 10 coming in for their first stop now then. So they're almost certainly going to be two-stopping, which means they'll have to overtake us at some point. So we're not out of distance of that top 10, and the guys ahead of us are the people who are really racing. We just got to hope these tyres will do sort of 13 to 15 laps. If we can go, obviously the fuel will be lighter for the second stint, so hopefully they won't wear quite as quickly. But I'd still like to get to sort of 15 laps, just so we don't have to go too far the second time round. Just dropping below 50% now on lap 8. And we want to pit really before 20%. So it's going to be close as to whether they can go far enough. And of course, it's always the catch-21 of whether it's really worth staying out if you're losing time all the time, whether you would be quicker doing a one stop. And I am wondering if we pit Tang and go for the 2. Car looking okay, gearbox looking a little worn. But let's... Oh, he's just missed the pits that time round. We'll bring him in next time. I think we'll switch Tang to a 2-stop and just hedge our bets just in case. Because I'm a little bit worried about how far these tyres are going to be able to go. I'm going to go back to conserve for Vosu. I would like to have them have a fair race between each other this time. By keeping them on the same strategy, but I think it's smart to split it just in case we can't make that one stop work and we lose too much time trying to make it work. At least if we bring Tang in and put him on a 2-stop, he can do 2 stints on the super softs till the end. So he will be on the quickest tyre. Pretty good pit stop. And he comes back out into the race. We will use his charge straight back out of the pits. Of course, we've made the decision this year not to recharge the car in the pits. Because it breaks so often that I really don't find it worth it. So Tang will now be on the quickest tyres between now and the end of the race. Vosu, let's get that charge used to try and get him away from those cars squabbling behind. Now you see, if we can make the one stop work for Vosu, this is his net position in the race. Don't forget, because I'm pretty sure everybody else has got one more stop to make as well. So if we can just eke it out for a one stop, he'll have to do a lot of defending late in the race. Like he's having to do now. Just a little bit charged there to try and hold that position. But Okimoto has far too much speed on the fresh super softs and just sails around the outside, let's be honest. But this might be Vostu's best chance for a top 10 finish. Tang will be doing a much more conventional race with everybody else. And obviously Tang will have to fight with those guys around him and doesn't really have a chance of the top 10. Engine already under massive strain then, 24%. So this track has got quite a lot of long straights, so I presume that's why the wear's coming. I mean, it was at sort of, what, 56, 57%? It was a bit of a worry, but I'm really surprised actually after just 13 laps. It's already down to 24%, so that's not brilliant. We're going to go back to neutral with Vosu. 29% at the moment on the tyres. If you can get another lap or two out of these, then I'm pretty confident the one stop is going to be something that he can achieve. Just going to use that boost for Tang at the moment. We'll save Vosu's up for when he needs it later in the race. 26% now. Can we do one more lap? To be honest, we've reached halfway. Now's probably the best time to come in then. So we'll come in for another set of another set of softs. Engine looking much better on Vosu. So that's bizarre then. So Tang started on 56% with the engine. Vosu started on 60. So just 4% difference. But Vosu is still on 53%. So Tang must have done something, or it's just the luck of the draw. But yeah, definitely Vosu faring a lot better with his engine than Tang. I'm really surprised that's down at 24, to be fair. quite unlucky, really, to be fair. But Vossel will come in now. We will see just how powerful the undercut has been for Tang. I would expect Vossel to come out plump last. Excuse me. And he does do. So he'll come back out in 20th. But all he's really got to do is look after these tyres. If he can look after them, we can keep them in the working range. Talking working range. Let's just back off with Tang. Because those super softs are overheating. And yeah, Vossu's chance will come later in the race. He's got some nice free air now, so we'll use that charge up as well. No need to push too hard. He should be quicker the cars ahead, hopefully. And we'll keep an eye on that gap, see if it does come down. It's just come down by a second on that lap alone. Let's go back on board with Tang then, who is really struggling to hold on to these guys. Let's use his boost and just see if we can help him out a bit. Let's just put him onto the cars ahead again. I thought they were going to go 3 wide into that double left-hander. But you can see just after a couple of corners, after the boost wears off, Tang just doesn't have the pace to stay with these guys. And 2-stop is going to be difficult. But Vossel is, you know, not too far off the back of these guys. So he's definitely going to jump up to about 15th, 13th, maybe even 12th. 10th might be a long way off. That might be a distant pipe dream. But we'll see how it shakes out. Whatever happens, he's going to have to do a lot of defending. So he needs to make sure that that stop is made at the right time. Same with Tang. The super softs can get around about 10 laps out of them. Of course, I'm really worried about that engine going bang. 10 laps left. We may have to repair that, to be fair, just to get him to the finish. And that really does screw his race completely, to be fair. I think we'll do one more lap after this, then we'll come in and we're going to have to repair the engine as we put on another set of super softs. And yeah, we'll bring Tang in this time around. Going to have to repair that engine. It's going to destroy our race, but let's be honest, Tang has already slipped pretty much to the back of the field. There's no points on offer for anybody but the top 5, I think it was this year, even 5 or 6, and the sponsor objective is 10th. So, and with Vossel just behind, Tang was never in that fight. So, look, let's just get him to the finish, make the repairs, and we'll see how it shakes out towards the end of the race. So, a few cars making their second stop now. Vossel didn't get past any of them, unfortunately. We're just going to use his boost now. This is a very poor pit stop. There's a problem with the tyres that's cost us almost 9 seconds on top of the engine repair. And Tang is now about to be lapped. And we'll keep it on conserve to keep those super softs in good condition till the end of the race. But he's out of it now. No doubt about that. Vossel, 8 laps to go, including this one, and well, he's ahead of everybody that we'd expect to be that has made their second stop. There's still 4 cars ahead, but just look at the speed of Minzy behind. That gap is coming down 1.8, 1.7, 1.6, 1.5. There is little to no chance of Vossel holding off. We'll go to high engine mode because you've got a bit of fuel to use. But there is a chance that Vossel will take over a net 10th place. It's whether he can defend it though. And we'll get an idea now with Minzy. He's defending pretty well, okay, at the moment, sorry. But 6 laps of it. Yeah, he's going to concede the next time around. He's still battling. He's trying. He's trying his little heart out. Use that boost to try and get back up the inside. It works. If we can just hold on until those 3 guys on the soft tyres pit. Although a lot of them don't look like they're going to, actually. I think Pernette and Okimoto might be going to the end. Bossu's now got a problem with his brakes. Yep, I can't do anything. I'm sorry. We're gonna go back to push with Tang. To use his boost. He's got 19th ahead of him. He could charge him down. Yeah, Bossu. I don't think we can do this. We've got Pernette ahead, who's got a similar tyre life, so I don't think he's going to pit. As Minzy has another look around the outside. This is incredible defending from Bossu. Let's use that boost. Just getting back down the inside. Come on, my son. Come on. Oh, he's lost it. Doesn't have the confidence on the brakes. He's already got issues with them. So I don't blame him, really. So someone else did pit. Farah did pit, so we're up to 12th. But it would have been 11th if we could hold on to that, but it's still not that 10th place we're after. And yeah, we knew it was going to be this. It's the stark reality once again. We've got a lot of fuel to use with Tang, so we might as well go on high there. Tyres now overheating, so we'll go back to neutral. Tang doesn't look like he's going to be able to close down Giuliani ahead. There are issues on Minzy's car though. As our brakes drop to 8% now. So there's an outside chance of getting that 11th back. But 11th or 12th, it doesn't really bother me. Because it is that 10th place we're after. And it's another stark reminder that without our star drivers, or our star driver in Dreyfus that we had last year, we're going to really struggle to drag this car anywhere above its actual pace. And its actual pace is pretty terrible. We couldn't really, as we go on to the final lap, by the way, that's why I'm wrapping up, but we couldn't really compare the two drivers today. Different strategies and very different setups, and obviously Tang with the engine repair as well. So difficult to compare the two of them. They're both doing similar lap times at the moment. They're both in the 27s, so at least they're finishing on a similar pace. But Tang crosses the line a lap down in 20th then, and Bossu looks like his brakes are going to hold on. We got some boost to use there, which if I'd used a bit earlier we might have been able to take that place back, but it's going to be 12th place for Bossu. It's another okay finish. You know, we raced really well there. The one-stop strategy really worked for us. I don't think Bossu deserved that 12th place at all on raw pace. Actually, it's a little bit harsh, isn't it? I mean, the car didn't deserve 12th place. Bossu did. He did a good job of looking after the tyres and making that one-stop work, but just not quite enough pace to get into that top 10. So it's a very difficult race once again. And there's going to be another loss of 96,000. It should be this time round. But just for the record, it is the top 5 only that get points this year. So we haven't lost out too much in the championship. We're still 9th. But 1 point would immediately put us 6th. So, you know, it's all to race for still. But are we going to make money? I don't think we're going to make money. But it has a horrible habit of giving us a different amount than it says before the race. So I should be on minus 96,000 for this race. So we will see how that gets on. I'm thinking we need to bring a reserve driver in. But it's going to be at a loss. He's got to be very cheap. We've got to train someone up to replace Tang, I think. But Bossu keeps improving a little bit. Keeps getting a little bit better. We finished 8th, so our chairman's happy. And that's all we got to do. We're just pushing the car forward this time. And it does match up for a change. So minus 96,000 is barely noticeable. So we still got 2 million in the bank to work on the car. So new gearbox built as well. The parts keep coming as we continue to try and drag this car off the bottom of the field. But it's remaining to be very tricky. We're still 10th. in there. So we've got the telemetry centre coming as well. We've got a lot of work to do on the engines that we've already built. So there's performance in there. And as I said, with just the top 5 getting points this season, there's a lot of opportunities to lift ourselves above a lot of teams in just a single result. But it's quite strange. The reliability, this is the first season I've ever done on this game where the first few races haven't been decided by reliability. And our normal path of making sure that our cars can get to the end of the race without any repairs, which has given us so many points in past seasons, is not paying off at all this year. So that's a bit of a shame. And I think that's what's making this look like a worse season start than normal. I mean, it is our worst start to a season of any championship. But I think that a lot of that has to do with, for whatever reason, the AI getting off the right foot in terms of reliability. So, hey, we'll try and push on next time. As always, keep your help and advice coming in the comments. I love to read them, and I love that we can try and move this team forward together. It's going to be a long old journey. F1 2017 content, I keep saying I'm getting on top of. It's not coming out too regularly, but there's a lot backed up to go out. So Motorsport Manager should be back on the regular. Hopefully back to sort of every 4 or 5 days per series episode. So you should be getting a minimum of 2 per week from now on. So we shall leave it there. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to hit that like button. It means the world. If you're new to the channel, like some Motorsport Manager or some F1 2017, you can always hit that subscribe button as well to be updated when a new video is out. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.